So tonight we're going to be making some sourdough cinnamon rolls for both ourselves and our friends. I'll just run through the ingredients for you here and then we'll start making them. So in the dough we've got just a little bit of sugar to help the yeast grow. For the filling, cinnamon, and I use coconut sugar instead of brown sugar. And then also, again, the organic all-purpose flour. Some good, there's just one egg in it. So if you're allergic to eggs, there'll be just one in 9 cinnamon rolls, and they'll be baked. But a good pasture-raised organic egg. I use coconut milk instead of dairy milk, and there's a little bit of butter in the rolls, and then a little bit of butter in the glaze. But a good organic grass-fed butter. The two I have here are just Full Circle Organic, and the Kerrygold is a good one as well. Then for the glaze, it'll be a mixture of Swerve, powdered organic sugar, and then coconut cream. So to start the cinnamon rolls off, I've got the coconut milk and the butter here that I've kind of warmed up slightly. I've got the egg and the sugar in there, and I'm going to mix in half a cup of the starter into the egg sugar mixture. Just want to make sure that your starter is really active to get these cinnamon rolls to rise up nicely. So this starter over here I'm going to put to bed in the fridge for the week, and then we'll get it back out and refresh it next weekend. So just get a half a cup of that starter. Just drop it in there. Should be kind of stringy, and whip it up good. Again, a mixer would be a handy tool to have, but we'll just go ahead and do it by hand. So I've got the flour pre-measured here, 2.5 cups, and we'll just dump it in. We'll just kind of mix that in until it starts to get a little bit clumpy. Then I'll just start pouring in the butter and milk mixture and mixing it by hand, and then we'll knead this for about 7 or 8 minutes, and then it'll proof overnight. Okay, so we're back with the cinnamon rolls. They've rested now for a half hour, and we're ready to knead them. So we'll knead them for 6 or 7 minutes, and then we will proof them. When you're proofing sourdough, you always want to use a glass or a ceramic bowl instead of a steel bowl. So we're on the next day now. So part of the fun of sourdough is just waking up and seeing what you got, because there's no guarantee like there is with commercial yeast. So looks like we did pretty good here. These breads hopefully would have risen a little bit higher, but then maybe just let them go too long and the plastic is holding them down. But the cinnamon rolls are really going good. And this is another loaf I whipped up with the rest of the starter. This is an all white loaf, and looks like it's going really good too. So we'll get the oven going here, and so the breads take 450, I believe, and the all white loaf will be at 500, and the cinnamon rolls will be at 400. So sourdough really likes it hot. Okay, so now we're gonna. So I flopped the cinnamon rolls out. I sprayed the counter because these are really sticky. They're not really a traditional dough. So spraying the counter keeps them from sticking too badly. We'll take and flour the rolling pin here a little bit to help it not stick to that. And I've got the pans prepared here with parchment paper that's been sprayed as well. So the tip of the parchment paper is to crinkle it up like into a tight ball and then unravel it, and you can see that it'll hold the shape of just about any pan easily then. We're trying to work these cinnamon rolls to about 12 by 16 or so we can get 8 to 9 cinnamon rolls. Trying to keep those ends square as much as you can. Alright, we'll just check our
size here. I think we're a little bit small. This end's thicker, so we'll keep rolling it. Not bad. So we've got our thing rolled out here. I've got some melted Kerrygold butter and a basting brush. We'll just brush some butter on it to make the filling stick. There's always a right amount of butter. Some, not a lot, is the right amount. So too much, and it'll be all runny when you bake it. Not enough, and your filling won't stick. A little bit more over here. Looks good. Now I've pre-made up our filling here with coconut sugar and cinnamon. And that's enough for 2 batches, obviously. But we'll just sprinkle that on. You want to pretty much coat the whole thing. Some people leave a little bit at the edge so they can kind of stick the edge, but I find the edge never sticks anyway, so. That's looking pretty good. Now, words of Crocodile Dundee. That's not a knife. That's a knife. So we're going to try to roll it up here without having it fall apart too much. You can see this end's a little bit thicker than that end, but got this metal spatula here to go ahead and try to help us out. Just kind of work it back and forth. Yes. No. Yeah, I think this is right. I can't remember if you're supposed to roll the short end or the long end, but we're going to do this end. Keep rolling it so that spray that we sprayed down on the counter is really helping out now, because you can see that it's not sticking at all. You just want a nice tight log of cinnamon rolls here. Perfect. Now we'll take our knife, and I think I'll just trim this end a little bit. And, oh, I forgot. Oiling the knife helps too as you get into the later cinnamon rolls, keep it from sticking too much. So we'll just trim off that little excess. My cousins would have called that a doti, and they would bake it. So we'll just kind of score here about 1.5 inches or so. So I've rolled this one a little bit thin. Cinnamon rolls are kind of small. Keep wiping your knife to make sure it's not sticking. Got 1, 2.
Are you done washing? Your body?
Keep wiping.
Or wash your body?
Keep everything in place. And then we go a little bit bigger on that one. So once we get them cut, we'll just arrange them into the pan, and hopefully there's enough food in there for those yeasts to work and puff them up one more time, and we'll have ourselves some cinnamon rolls ready to bake. So nothing about sourdough is fast, so this will be another 2 hours or so before that gets all done, and then we'll be ready to eat one batch and deliver the other batch. So, all right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
10.
So this is, let's see, whoops. You can kind of see the shape there.
Excuse me.
Thanks, Evelyn.
I want to see.
So you try to keep them all to put together. You can see that I should have cut them more. Try not to cut my counter, but they're tearing on me. So. We're still doing pretty good here. And in a couple hours, these guys will be ready to bake. We'll take those doties and we'll put them in a separate pan and see if we can get them to turn out too. So, all right, we'll be back when it's ready to bake.
So this batch of cinnamon rolls is kind of reproofed here after we've let them rest in the pan for a couple hours, and we're gonna go ahead and bake them. This batch over here is not quite ready yet. They're still looking a little bit small. So we got about 30 minutes in the oven, and if you haven't done your morning workout or cold shower to mitigate the blood sugar rise from eating these babies, there's still time. Go ahead and go do it. So now we're making frosting. We've got the coconut cream in here. We're gonna whip it until hopefully it turns into whipped coconut cream. Then we'll add the butter and powdered sugar to make a whipped frosting. Grab the cinnamon rolls out of the oven. The first batch is finished baking. Take a look at those babies. Looking good, looking good. Our frosting, I ran out of powdered sugar, so it's a little thin, but it's gonna work and taste just fine. So I'm gonna lift these out, put them right into our pan here. And these are going for delivery, so I'm not gonna frost them. Got the frosting here, and these are your sourdough cinnamon rolls. So eat your heart out, Phasies. Organic, dairy-free, except the butter, which I consider to be dairy-free because butter's just fat. So yeah, enjoy.